You're listening to the Maryland Crabs podcast with John Frenay and my dad, Tim Hamilton. Okay, there, I did it. Give me my phone back.
Live from a grungy kitchen table located in Annapolis, Maryland's scenic and historic capital, it's the Maryland Crabs podcast. With each episode, your hosts, Tim Hamilton, John Frenay, and the occasional guest will dive in and pick apart the stuff that really matters most to you. We're too lazy to actually solve any of these problems, but we can definitely stir the pot. From schools, politics, parking in the fire lane, to those horrible people who drive BMWs. And here with this week's episode, live from the kitchen table, Tim Hamilton and John Frenay.
Hey, welcome back. It's the Maryland Crabs. It's John Frenay and Tim Hamilton here. How are you today?
I don't feel well.
Yeah, well, you're going away, so that's fine.
No one cares.
Or actually, by the time you hear this, you will be away.
I will be in Ireland.
A drunken state.
Well, just in a different place. You know, that's...
Oh, man. Hey, for everybody that supported our mayoral forum on June 28th, thank you. We are officially sold out twice.
That made me nervous, too, because we sat here and we kind of pumped it up. Like, it's going to be great. It's going to be fantastic. And we stopped tape, as it were. And we kind of looked at each other going, shit, we hope people show up. And within, 3 days?
Yeah, what we did is we decided we were having it at Ramshead, we decided we needed to control how many seats there were just so we knew. And within 3 days, we had sold 300 tickets. We released a few more.
And they weren't sold, they're free.
Yeah. There were 300 tickets issued.
Yes.
We freed up a couple more seats that we were holding back just in case. So we ended up issuing 315 tickets, which is the capacity for Ramshead.
And for people who are asking me for tickets, let me save you the time. I have none because I am not allowed to have the responsibility of holding tickets.
Yes, if you did not get a ticket and you would like to attend, I do anticipate we will have some no-shows.
Yeah, not a lot, but we will have a few.
And what I would suggest doing is getting there at about 6:45, and that's when we're going to realize the doors open at 6, the event starts at 7, and at 6:45 we'll have an idea of where the room stands and how many additional people we can let in. So if you want to go, come on down on Wednesday the 28th. Make a night of it. Actually, Annapolis is going to be hopping. You've got
dinner under the stars that night.
Yeah, so. You've got dining under the stars. The stores are open, so make a night of it. Stop in and hopefully get to hear what the 4 candidates running for mayor of Annapolis have to say about some of the big issues that they're going to be facing if whoever's successful.
And thanks for the questions that everyone sent in, because we did get a bunch of questions and we went over them. Some of them were very specific, so we can't get into all of them because this is not a debate, it's just a forum. But we did take some of the questions and kind of modified them into...
Yeah, what we're doing is we're taking all the questions, but when I say we, I say that means you.
Yeah, on the plane.
is to take them all like a deck of cards. They're all spread out on the table, and we're just sort of massaging them and bringing them back into one sort of coherent question topic that we can present to each of the candidates.
Right.
So that would be, we will certainly include your pieces of your questions within the topics that we talk about. Last week's episode was also about the USS Sioux City, and that was a lot of fun. And that was that was the one that you missed recording because you had to be someplace else. I forget where.
LA.
I think you're up in Pennsylvania. But we talked to.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, we talked to Rear Admiral Frank Thorpe and Mary Winnefeld. And Mary is the sponsor of the new USS Sioux City, which will be commissioned here in Annapolis probably in early June of 2018. Probably right about this time next year. And it's very interesting because there's never been a battleship commissioned at the Naval Academy, which seems sort of odd to me. And there's never been a commissioning in Annapolis. They did the Zumwalt up in Baltimore.
What's a Zumwalt?
That's that new, real fancy high tech. It's sort of like the
sounds like a German drink.
It's like the B-52 bomber.
I'll take 3 Zumwalts.
The stealth bomber that looks like a stealth ship.
Oh, yeah, I see that with all the angles and everything like that. So it's invisible.
They did that. And Captain James Kirk is the commander of that ship, ironically enough. But I don't know who the commander is of this ship, but there's quite a lot of pomp and circumstance that's going to go around with the USS Sioux City. Sioux City is being a sister city, if you will, not in the Annapolis sense, but it's going to be a sister city for us for that week because they're going to have a lot of people coming in there. There's going to be plenty of opportunities to see the ship, board the ship, check it out, and
fire the guns.
And they are raising money. And I said, well, why do we need to raise the money? And what they do is, this is really kind of cool. But the seamen that are on the ship they're under stress, and people at home are stressed. So what they're doing is they're establishing a scholarship on the ship, and they're trying to raise money that will just throw out X number of dollars a year that they can give to the families of whoever may be serving on the ship at the time. It says it's got a 30-year lifespan.
Huh.
So that's kind of neat when you figure if you've got a husband or a wife that's out at sea for 6 months at a time, leaves a hardship at home, working on a sailor's salary is kind of difficult to afford college and whatnot.
Oh, well,
So
cool,
it's kind of a neat idea to do that. And Mary is an incredibly interesting person. So if you haven't listened to it, go back, listen to it. It's all about the USS Sioux City that'll be coming into Annapolis next June.
And I'm not on it, so if you want to skip it, that's fine.
Yeah, we're going to try to talk to him and see if we can possibly ride up the bay with it.
That'd be awesome.
We might be podcasting from it as we come up the bay on it.
With the guns? That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Boom. Okay, Mayor Panelides.
So awesome.
But this week, what we've done, we decided we wanted to see if we can make Anne Arundel County Schools spokesperson Bob Moser squirm in his pants. And what we did is we went and we, you know Bob, don't you?
No, I don't hobnob with the
You don't know him?
caliber of people you do.
No, he's the
I know
hello
who he is.
parents.
Yeah.
He's the hello parents.
That voice means that my kids are going to be with me all day. Every time I hear his voice, I'm like, shit, my
You
kids are
don't-
going to be
you-
bugging me
you
all
don't-
day now.
So you don't like Bob?
Well, because we get snow on the grass and all of a sudden the schools are closed for 2 days. Bob.
But what we've done is we've gone out to some of the students that are graduating or have graduated from Anne Arundel County Public Schools, and we got a hold of 2 lifers, and we wanted to find out how their experience was. They were out. They had their diplomas.
They graduated. It was right after prom.
Yep,
And,
the prom
we
for
rousted them from their naps.
The school held nothing over them, and it's kind of interesting. We talked to a young lady from Annapolis that graduated from Annapolis High School, Ellie Pline.
And we had her dad, Alex, on the show before that, where we didn't even argue that much. A little bit.
Mm-hmm. That was a good episode, too, with Alex. We were talking about parking and biking.
Yeah.
And then we drank.
Yeah, love drinking.
And then we drank. And then we went deep down into the South County to a
Almost Deal, yeah.
a young gentleman. We actually did it at the Deal Library, Will Shartzer, who will be going to Penn State. Ellie's going to University of Maryland, I believe, right? And her sister is up in New York, NYU, maybe. I can't remember.
I don't think it was NYU.
But Will's off to Penn State. Will really surprised me. You've got this picture of rural South County farmers and whatnot, and he totally is.
Yeah,
he grew up on.
Well, and he'll tell you that he's the first male in his family to ever graduate high school.
What he wants to do with his graduation after he's graduated in Penn State and everything else really sort of surprised me. And there's a kid that living on a farm, and he turns around. He has essentially 3 businesses in his farm stand that he's working with his family, and he's got a very, very good story. What I liked most about these is that we asked him about what worked and what didn't work through their careers at Anne Arundel County Public School Systems, and both of them had no problem naming names and talking about the programs that worked. And
well, I'll tell you what, my kids go to public school, and my wife and I went to Catholic school all our lives, and my brothers and sisters and my entire family.
It's unusual for Hindus like you.
But what was interesting to me is that culturally this is very different, because we weren't used to PTAs and school budgets and buses and all those things. I took the metro to school because we didn't have buses. But it was interesting to me because sometimes you kind of question that, going, what kind of education are they getting? Because we've had nothing but positive experiences. But after we interviewed the 2 kids, I actually went home and I talked to my wife and kids over dinner about what they said, because I wasn't even patronizing. The advice they gave, I expected we go down, they'd tell us some stories about how much they liked it, and we go back, we edit it, and move on to the next thing. They actually did give me a lot to think about in terms of my kids, about taking advantage of any opportunities and making sure that you're the one who's responsible for that, because people won't hand it to you. So that's what I told my kids now. I actually made them listen to it. I actually did, because I said, you have to listen. These kids are you in 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, well, that's the one thing that really sort of resonated throughout the whole thing with these guys, is that they said that and I don't want to be a spoiler for the episode, but the opportunities that are presented through Anne Arundel County Public Schools are phenomenal. The secret is really looking for them and taking advantage of them.
Yeah, it was an eye-opener for me, and it made me feel good about what we're doing.
We do want to go back both to Will and Ellie, if we remember, in 4 or 5 years.
Put it on your calendar.
And just see what happens. See where they.
I'm not going to do it.
Where they went.
So, let's listen to what they have to say.
And we're here with Ellie Pline, who is actually the daughter of the prior guest, Alex Pline, who talked about bicycling and parking in the city of Annapolis. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. And you are a graduate.
Yes.
Not quite.
Yeah, kind of. I don't know what to call myself because, like, I haven't graduated, but I'm not in school anymore. It's a weird time.
It's kind of like high school purgatory.
Yeah. I never thought about it that way, but that's a pretty good way to describe it.
Well, it's funny because did you see that story about the University of Maryland supposed salutatorian? And he put it on LinkedIn.
Oh yeah, that wasn't true. Because they don't have a valedictorian.
I think it's BS. I think they don't do it. This guy said I went and got my degree in whatever it was. He said, but I decided the degree wasn't worth anything, so I want to be an entrepreneur. And I failed all my classes and unenrolled from the school. So University of Maryland lost their valedictorian. But they don't do valedictorians.
Yeah, no, it's not true.
So everyone says it's a BS story, but he's getting a lot of traction on it, so he'll probably be fine.
Good for him.
But you are a lifer here in Arundel County Public Schools.
I am.
And where did you start out?
I was from kindergarten to 5th grade. I was at West Annapolis Elementary, and then I went to Bates for middle school, and then I'm about to graduate from Annapolis.
Okay, and where are you off to next year?
I will be at University of Maryland.
College Park?
Mm-hmm.
Work hard, you become valedictorian.
Huh?
She works hard, she becomes valedictorian.
that is true. I mean, before we started talking, you were saying that you're excited.
Yeah.
Glad to get out of Annapolis. Not that you hate Annapolis, but just
I've lived here for 17 years, and it'll be nice to be somewhere new. Not that College Park is that far away, but I'll be in my own world.
I agree. My daughter's over at American in D.C., and she's a little bit further away than far enough away to be away.
Yeah,
close enough to be home.
That's why I like Maryland.
Which is really good.
Yeah, my sisters went to Catholic U, and that was like 5 miles away from where I grew up, and they never came home ever.
Yeah.
How's your experience been with Arundel County? I mean, are you ready? Are you ready for the University of Maryland? Are you ready for where you're going?
I would not change anything from my Anne Arundel County career, honestly. Like, especially because I did IB at Annapolis.
Okay.
And everyone that has graduated from that, and like a lot of people 2 years ago, like my sister graduated 2 years ago, so like a lot of her friends are at University of Maryland, and they tell me like it's as hard, if not easier, than our IB classes in Annapolis High School. Not to like trash on Maryland, just saying that like IB is very good at like preparing you for just the amount of work that's gonna happen and the level of like analysis that you need to like actually do things.
Now, my kids actually came from private school into public school, late elementary, middle school. Did you find that all of your, like, through your elementary, through your middle school, did that prepare you for high school, and do you feel really prepared for University of Maryland?
Yeah, honestly, well, like, I remember so my sister, like I said, she's 2 years older than me, so she was the same situation as me, public school in Anne Arundel County. So I kind of already had a bit of like a precursor to sort of what it was going to be like, and like the sort of stereotype with like Bates and Annapolis High School especially is like, oh, it's like rough, there's violence and gangs and all that stuff, but it's a lot of just BS and like mild racism. But
Mild racism.
just casual racism.
It doesn't mean anything.
What are you majoring in?
Music education. So I'll be a teacher. Music education.
Were you in the PBA program at Bates?
Yeah, at Bates I was.
My daughter's in PBA.
Yeah, I really liked it.
She loves it. She was in vocal.
Mm-hmm. Who's the vocal teacher now?
Miss Renault.
Okay, yeah, she was there. I just don't know if I didn't know if she's still there or not.
Yeah, she's still there. But, I think she's not that far behind you. She's 13, you're 18, so it seems like it went forever. But my daughter was, 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Are you scared to go to college? I was terrified when I was your age.
Yeah.
And I didn't love high school, to be honest, but it was just that change. I was absolutely petrified to move on.
Yeah.
But when the day I got there, like my parents dropped me off, I took off. It was just that's 4 years of my life. And people go, well, besides your kids, I'm like, no, better than my kids.
Yeah, I'm not afraid, I guess. It's just more like weird, like, because everyone says like, oh, college is like the best years of your life. Knock on wood.
It is, yeah.
But like
I envy you so. Like, I gotta tell you right now, I get excited talking about this right now. I envy you so much. What you're about to do.
It's just weird because I'll probably keep in touch with like my friends from high school, but like it's, I don't know, my parents don't keep in touch with their friends from high school.
But they didn't have social media.
Yeah, that's true. So
like with graduation, you just look at them and go, have a good life, because you weren't going to see them again. Now it's like, well, I'll see you on Facebook.
Yeah, so I'm just a little afraid that I'll kind of like lose those friends, but I guess that's what life is.
Well, so your freshman year, you come back, and Thanksgiving, you all get together, your high school friends, and it's great. And then that summer, you'll kind of hang out. And the next year, you'll come back for Thanksgiving, you'll see a couple.
Yeah.
And by junior year, you'll have like 3 or 4 from high school that you hang on to. But
yeah, I have this like my like sort of core group of friends, I guess. Like none of them are staying in state. They're all going to private liberal arts hoity-toity schools.
Hoity-toity.
If you could take one thing out of your experience here, what would it be? I mean, who were the teachers, the people that really made an impact on you? I mean, you get your act together. You're going on. I mean, your sister's up in Boston.
Yeah, Boston.
She graduated a couple years ahead of you. So, I mean, you've got your act together. I mean, you know where you're going. You're obviously talented if you were in the, in the magnet programs and whatnot, in the IB certainly. What were the programs or the people that really had an impact on you that really made a difference?
There are a couple people that come to my mind.
She's going to start picking out enemies. All right. I hated her.
Yeah, we won't air it until the ball is in your hand.
No, my guidance counselor, the IB guidance counselor, Ms. Richburg, I would not have made it through IB without her. She's the most, I can't even describe what she does. I struggled a lot in the winters. So IB is 11th and 12th grade. I struggled a lot in the winter of those 2 years, just mentally dealing with all this stuff. And then senior year, there was all the college aspects of everything. And she actually organized this sort of group of students that were in my same situation. It was 12 of us maybe, and 10 were all my age and in IB. And we just had our last sort of session the last week of school. But yeah, we helped each other a lot, and I couldn't have done that without Ms. Richburg. Now they're some of my closest friends, and we're always, if we need anything, we're always there, and it's really nice.
Middle school or elementary school? And can we go into the way back machine?
Yeah, we can go into the way back. So middle school, I had he's not there anymore. I think he's in Montgomery County now, but the PBA...
Hey, I'm from Montgomery County. I heard that.
The PBA band director that was there, Mr. Puckett, he was really good. He helped me a lot, just sort of realize, sort of fine-tune my, musical abilities going into high school. And he kind of also helped me realize that, I like music and I like teaching, and I can do that for my life.
And that was not until middle school?
Yeah, no, that was until middle school. I knew I wanted to teach ever since I was in kindergarten. I had Miss Miller in kindergarten. I don't know if she's still there or not.
Who's that?
At West Annapolis. So yeah, I knew I wanted to teach, but then I don't know when, somewhere along the line, it was I can do this as a career. And then I started playing saxophone, which is my main instrument, in the 4th grade with Mr. Yukaitis at West Annapolis. And yeah, I was hey, these are 2 things that I like to do. What do I do about that? And then Mr. Puckett was hey, you can do both at the same time. And I was whoa, no way. That's great. That's awesome.
That's cool, because I know my daughter looked at Shepherdstown University or Shepherd University out in West Virginia, and they had a major that sort of came because of somebody with passions for 2 things. Somebody had a passion for criminal justice and photography. And they've now created a major specifically on that. It's basically crime scene photography.
Oh, yeah.
Who would have thought? And they're the #1 provider of crime scene photographers to police departments and FBI nationwide, which is kind of weird. So it's neat that you can merge your 2 passions into this.
Yeah.
Music, obviously, did you grow up in a real musical family? I mean,
No, not at all. So, well, kind of. My mom played clarinet in high school and sang some. And she's sort of in the car, in the shower singer.
Okay.
But she can't read music or anything. And then my dad just, I don't know how to say this without being rude, but oh man.
We know your dad.
Just did not understand any of that. He said he played trumpet in middle school, but he
you got all the girls,
it's funny.
All the girls love a trumpet player.
He'll try to
right, Alex?
Play is a very, very skeptical term.
He made noises on it. But yeah, he sometimes he'll try to ask me about musical terms. I'll try to explain them. He just doesn't. Right over the head. Nothing.
Right. Did your musical career start out on the recorder?
No, actually.
See, kids, so don't bother studying the recorder. If you
The recorder is actually very similar to saxophone and clarinet. But I started playing piano actually in the 2nd grade, but I don't think that was from Anne Arundel County. I just got really frustrated because I wanted to read music because my friend could. And I was like, I want to do that. And so, yeah, I took piano lessons for like 2 years. So I can sort of navigate a piano, but...
It's complicated. There's all those keys.
I don't get how people do it. Like complicated
stuff. I make my kids do it, and they hate me. Not even a little bit. They despise me.
Yeah.
We have piano lessons today.
Yeah, have you played piano downtown?
I'm paying for my kids to hate me.
Oh, yeah, I played that.
The public piano downtown? Outside
yeah,
Market House?
My kids will play that.
Yeah.
And, and then I said, you want to thank me now? And then they just walk off and they don't say anything to me.
They thanked you verbally, or non-verbally. But, so... Now you're creating an empty nest for your. Well, you were in the Wall Street Journal earlier.
Yeah, I was.
Year because let me talk about this. The Start School Later, and your mom is involved with that initiative as far as having the kids start school later in the day, as opposed to later in the year, which Francho and Hogan already took care of.
Yep.
As a student, I mean, how do you feel about it?
Which one? The start school later in the day,
or in the day?
Okay, yeah.
In the day. I mean, would starting the school at 9 o'clock have been better for you?
Yes, 100%. Yes. I know the sort of main thing that I'm hearing besides like the bus schedule is like, oh, sports, like, and the practices would be moved, but like, just make the practices shorter. I'm an athlete. Like, I'm a varsity athlete. I'm not just like saying this. Pretty much every practice, I don't know any sport that practices less than 2 hours for every day. Like, why?
Right, cut it back to an hour and a half.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if sports are supposed to make us healthier, but why are we like sacrificing our own health by not sleeping as much as we should be? Like, at practice a lot of the time, so my like sort of main sport, I guess, was soccer. I played soccer in the fall. But like, oh my God, I was exhausted every practice. Like, not just from practicing. Like, even before I got there, I could definitely get more out of it if I had even another hour of
sleep. And it's not a thing about you being a morning person or a non-morning person or anything?
No, God, yeah. Especially just with, like, great example. So I took AP Calculus this year. Don't do it.
I can't even do pre-algebra. I can't. 7th graders can do it.
Yeah, and I had it. So first semester I had it in the morning. I could not tell you anything that we did first semester. I don't know anything. And then this semester I had a 3rd period. Still very difficult, and I still struggled. It was not nearly the type of challenge that it was when I had it at 7:17 compared to 10:30.
Well, the good news is when you go to college and you pick your own schedule. I tell you what, my freshman year, I picked from the right side of the schedule. I looked at the times first and went over and go, pottery? I could do that.
Well, my thing,
11 a.m.
All of my kids, all 3 of them were amazed that it was like, Dad, my professor doesn't like even care if I come to class. And it's like, yeah, that's it's all on you now.
I taught that class at my university this semester, and there's one student I didn't see the entire semester, and I'm like, if you can ace the final, good for you. I don't care.
Yeah.
He did not, by the way.
He tried.
Close.
Where are you looking to go beyond University of Maryland? Are you looking to get a master's in music, or are you looking to get into teaching into an elementary or a? So
at Maryland, you like your last like 2 years, I think you're like already student teaching in schools, and I definitely want to go to public school just because I loved my experiences in public school. So like I want to sort of give that back. Preferably I want to teach high school, but then I've been told that like a lot of people my age that want to teach say they want to teach high school just because it's the thing to do when you're in high school.
You couldn't pay me enough to teach high school. You guys are horrible.
No. You never taught middle schoolers.
You know, I'd love to get a teacher to talk just off the record. But I mean, the elementary school and the middle schools are middle school is just really awkward. I've found elementary school they're totally moldable. They'll listen.
I come from a family
where the teachers put like 2 fingers up in the air and the whole class goes silent. You know, high school they're raising up.
But middle schoolers are so so mean. Middle schoolers are so mean.
Yeah, she's right. Actually, my daughter's going through it right now, and she's fine. Maybe she's one of the mean ones. I don't know.
No, like I volunteered at the middle school. Like, I mean, maybe I was only like a sophomore, so like maybe I just didn't have that level of authority yet. But they were so mean to me.
Well, so looking back at college, I used to date a few of the elementary ed majors, and they would disappear like their junior year because they were doing their student teaching, and you wouldn't see them for a year or whatever it was, and you just would not see them. And then when they came back, they would take all the blow-off classes and they were swinging from chandeliers and just absolutely blowing off that steam because they're going to a lifetime of, like right now, they're all ready to snap in late May.
Right.
So they're coming down on the kids, but because they're just going nuts. But so hats off to you.
You have a particular area, like a geographic area that you want to. Where do you see yourself living? Or are you a Colorado girl, a California girl, or a New York?
I'm just
Annapolis?
I'm not a huge city person. Like you said, my sister's in Boston. I don't like it there. And like New York stresses me out. It's just so many people. Like I looked, one of the schools I was looking at was in New Orleans, and that was like, I love that town. It kind of smells like pee everywhere, but that's minor. I'm
New
a very
Orleans is my favorite town. If I can get over
You're
the
in
heat,
vomit.
if I can go over the heat.
Yeah,
I'm there.
I love like just warm and relaxed. So I guess the South, but
And you've also got music.
yeah.
You've got some.
Yeah, you got the
serious
jazz in
talent
New Orleans.
Out of New Orleans, there.
So looking at the world now, you're 18 and you're going through a time right now that we've never seen in our lifetime. It looks like everything's going to hell. So what's your perspective? Are you hopeful, or are you just like, this is normal to you?
Everything is going
You
to
know
hell.
that, like,
The things will happen in the next four, hopefully not 8 years, regarding budgets and the arts that I'm maybe not looking forward to.
Are you 18 now?
No, I'm still 17 actually.
When are you going to go? So you weren't able to vote?
Nope.
well, she had a legal ID.
Huh? That's true.
I'm like, oh god, I don't remember what show it was. No, I don't remember what show it was, but there's the guy who's like, I think it was like, or was it the Breakfast Club? Yeah, that he has a fake ID so that he can vote.
I need a fake ID so I can vote.
It's definitely a strange world.
But you look bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and you're ready to take it on. You're not beaten down like John and I. Well, John was like,
Yeah.
Hopefully with I think by the time I get out of college, we'll be having kind of a teacher shortage regarding, at least in Anne Arundel County with the pay stuff. I know a lot of teachers that have left. But yeah, hopefully that'll make it easier for me to find a job. Crossing my fingers.
There are a lot of there's a program out there that the feds sponsor as far as teaching, and I mean what it does is that they give you, I can't remember how much money it is per semester, but you have to agree to teach in a challenge school, similar to what we have a couple here where they took the stipend away, but it's a federal where they basically will forgive the loan if you teach for 5 years.
Yeah, I heard that.
And I mean,
that's like Northern Exposure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta go to the outback of Alaska.
I mean, they don't assign where you go. I mean, you've got a whole bunch of choices. I mean,
Yeah.
you could go down to Memphis, or you could go down to someplace in Texas, or it could be someplace in Maryland.
I've seen this program. It's actually pretty cool, and plus you get this. It's sort of like Peace Corps, except you're getting paid.
And it forgives a lot of your debts, or some of your debt anyhow. On that, you got one piece of advice. If a kindergartner could understand your advice right now, what would your advice be to get them through the next 12 years?
Well, it would have to be, I don't know off the top of my head, but something that, Anne Arundel County, especially in Annapolis High, and also my mom, just because that's her personality.
Right.
Definitely learning how to advocate for yourself and go and reach out. If you want something, it's not just going to happen for you. You have to go and reach out and make it happen. Otherwise, it's not going to.
That's actually killer advice, and this is where I'm supposed to be patronizing and just go, oh, that's really good. 'Cause
No.
I had talked with your dad about that, because my daughter's gonna be high school age, relatively soon, a couple of years. Yeah, next year actually. And he gave me that same advice. He said, as long as your kids are advocates for their own education.
Yeah.
Because my daughters have been, and so I actually took that home with my wife, and we talked about that long and hard.
Yeah, you definitely get out what you put in. Even in IB, there are kids that just sort of skated by and just did what they can, and then there are people sort of more like myself and my friends that really put all they had into it, and now they got a lot out of it, and now we really value our education.
Right. No, the IB program at Annapolis High, you're in that, right? Mm-hmm. Now, is that slanted?
I was.
Okay, you was. That's right. You was. Just fresh out of prom.
She's in limbo. Yeah.
Just waiting for graduation. What is that scaled differently, like the STEM programs, as far as weighted differently as far as your averages go? Do you know?
Yeah. So it's weighted the same as an AP course. I don't like to draw the comparison between IB and AP because they're really different, but in GPA, they're weighted the same.
Well, I know my kids went to South River, and one of the problems they had is that if you were somebody that was in the arts, say in the arts program, I mean, you could be a savant, just as, outstanding arts, straight A, all AP classes, yet you couldn't beat somebody that had all A's or even a B, high B in STEM because they weighted STEM so much. Mathematically, it was
That's what happened to me in high
impossible.
school, though, is that, in grade school and high school, is that the grading scale was 93 to 100, 85 to 93. So, A's and B's were hard to come by, but because I was in Catholic school. But against the public schools, which were 90 to 100, so that our GPAs were different, even though we could have the exact same grades, but we had lower GPAs. So that was the hard part.
Yeah, I hate the whole just idea, race to be valedictorian, take all the classes that you can. My friend, one of my really good friends, is valedictorian in my class, and he just hates that people keep talking about it. It's like he just is in IB and did well in his classes. He wasn't I'm gotta be valedictorian, blah blah blah, and then one of my other good friends is actually number 3, and the only reason he's number 3 is because he took he took band all 4 years, which is an honors class, so it's still weighted heavier than a normal class, but it's not as much as an IB class. And then the way it worked out, he had to take a gym credit his senior year, so that brought down his GPA. So even though he was taking 8 classes and other people were taking 7, his GPA was lower because the extra class that he took had a lower GPA.
The man.
The
man stuck it to you.
The gym class always get you.
It is. I did that in college one time. I had to take a gym just to get final, and I took ballroom and disco dancing, which was in athletics, and my father hit them.
I'm angry for him.
Yeah, I agree at this point. Well, disco was a thing back then, but it's not.
Jeez.
But
my grandparents.
I think the best thing that you told us is just advocate for yourself and fight for what you want.
Yeah.
I mean, and I guess that would be if there's a club or an interest that you want.
Yeah.
If there's a problem with a teacher or a curriculum, or starting school later in the day.
Yeah, a really good example of that. Actually, I think yesterday. So I know some schools in the county, they do same color graduation robes, everyone just has one color.
South River just changed that.
Yeah, so at Annapolis it just changed. So next year I think it'll be black and some maroon and blue band. But yeah, because they people from 2 years ago had wanted to do that, and so they just kept sort of passing down the legacy and kept persisting, and then they got it.
And what was the reason behind that? Just for we're one class. We're not necessarily males or females, or what?
Yeah, I think 2 years ago there was a student who was transgender, and they assign it's not just so typically white is for the girls and blue is for the guys, and it's not just choose white or blue. It's you choose male or female, and so that was
So it was
sort of a weird thing.
So that's that whole transgender conversation, and identification came into play.
All right, so before we let you go take your afternoon nap, pre-graduation nap, what are you doing for the summer?
It depends on who you ask. If you ask my mom, I'm working, but that hasn't happened yet. Hi, Mom.
What type of work are you?
They're looking for help here, actually.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that on the way in.
Up here at Bean Rush and Annapolis.
Yeah, they want resumes.
Yeah. So just wherever I can make some extra money. I've been babysitting and dog sitting and all the sitting varieties, including sitting on my ass.
My daughter's home from college, and she's learned that the babysitting, Navy people that are teaching on the base, lots of money. I mean, she's getting $25 an hour. 3 kids, one of which is asleep.
Yeah,
But every time she's been home, she said, I've seen him, but he's never seen me.
$25 an hour.
Yeah, she'll come home after a good night. She'll come home with $300.
Oh man,
That's all I made last summer. Ugh. I need to rethink my life now.
You can go down on City Dock and busk with your saxophone.
I could. You actually need a permit to do that. You can't just go and do it.
Only until they tell you.
Yeah,
can't.
Yeah.
the only saxophone song I know is Baker Street.
Martin O'Malley didn't have a permit when he did it. I know that for a fact.
All right.
But Ellie Pline, thank you, congratulations.
Thank you.
And anybody listening to this, seriously, take that. Advocate for yourself. That's probably some of the most valid advice that I think anybody can give you.
Seriously.
But
Also,
thank you.
naps are so important.
Naps.
Naps, whenever you can.
Which is where you're going now.
Yes,
Maybe.
probably.
Well, I'm going to tell you what my grandfather told me the day I left for college, and it's just that I envy you. This is going to be the best 4 years of your life, and it's going to go so fast. So savor every second of it.
Yeah.
Can we check in with you in 4 years?
You are welcome to do that.
We know where you live.
All right, Ellie, good luck. Hey.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Anne Arundel County Executive Steve Shue. We're battling a heroin epidemic that we can't fight alone. Talk to your kids about the danger of drugs today. The road to heroin abuse often starts with a prescription from a doctor. Don't be silent about this problem. Talk to your children. Ask your doctor to provide only the minimum number of pills necessary. Go to denialisdeadly.org right now for the tools you need to stop heroin addiction before it starts.
If you don't like huge draft beer selections, don't go to Union Jack's. If you're not looking for an incredible menu and dozens of screens to catch your favorite teams, I repeat, do not go to Union Jack's. Not into darts and pool? Good. Live music not your thing? Perfect. Bottom line, if you are not interested in the best dining and bar experience in Annapolis, avoid Union Jack's. But if this all sounds totally friggin' awesome to you, visit Union Jack's in Annapolis, just across from Whole Foods in the Annapolis Town Center. Union Jack's, not your old-style pub.
And we're down here in Deal, at the Deal Library.
It's very quiet down here. It's nice.
It is. Well, we had to bribe the ladies out front to give us the room, but
They look very suspicious of us.
they were very nice. Well, we're looking suspicious anyhow. But we're down here with Will Shartzer, who is a graduated senior. He has the piece of paper in his hand, and we want to talk a little bit about his experience with Anne Arundel County Schools. How are you doing, Will?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Good. Congratulations on the graduation.
Thank you.
You
Thank
just did it the other day?
Yes, sir. Friday.
So you went from prom to graduation so quickly. I know.
Very quickly.
We talked to Ellie Pline, who's at the Annapolis High School, and she just had their prom, I guess, a couple days ago, but she's got to wait till June 5th for graduation, so she's just sort of hanging out and napping a lot. Is what
That's the key, napping.
Now, are you a lifer here for Anne Arundel County Schools?
Yes, sir. I've been in Lothian since I was born.
All right, now we need to stop this sir business here. I get the whole polite thing and stuff like that. You can call me John. That's
All right,
Tim.
John.
That's
Oh, no, I want to be called sir.
no. I
never get to be called sir.
I got saluted going into the Naval Academy yesterday. I thought I was
Was
pretty.
that a salute or a finger?
No, it was a salute. I said I was going to impart it at home, and my kids were like, "Yeah, no, that's not going to happen." So you started in pre-K or kindergarten down
Kindergarten.
here?
Yes, sir.
And
Tracy's.
So where are you now? What were you studying in high school? Where are you looking to go?
Next year, I'll be going to Penn State. I'll be studying international relations and economics.
Oh wow, okay.
Jeez.
Down up in Happy Valley.
Yes, sir.
Main campus.
From Southern Anne Arundel County to Happy Valley. That's awesome.
That's a fun town.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It is, and it's quite a difference for what you've got. I mean, Southern High School is the smallest high school in the county. How many were in your graduating class? Maybe 3?
It wasn't quite 300. It was,
Okay,
it was in like the 200s, yeah.
In the 200s. So, I mean, you're going into just a gigantic, you can probably fit about 10 of your schools in the stadium.
Oh, yeah. Every bit of it.
Well, whenever
Beaver Stadium's a very big stadium.
Beaver Stadium, when that's filled, I think it was like 110,000 people. When it's filled, it's something like the 4th largest city in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
I remember what Penn State did at one time. They narrowed the seats in the stadium. They did a huge thing. They took them from 21 inches to 18 inches. They picked up something like 20,000 seats, which increased like revenue by like something like $12 million a season, football season, just by shaving 3 inches off of the seats.
That's like they should work for the airlines.
It's
So
exactly
international relations, and what are you going to do with that?
I'm not really sure yet. I'm gonna see what it takes.
There it is, right
Yeah.
there. That's
Penn State has a lot of internship programs, and I'd like to get an internship either with the State Department or the United Nations and see where that goes.
God, I look at how
what that
together
moves
you
to.
are, man. When I was his age, I think I'd overdue library books I still hadn't covered from the school. They wouldn't let me graduate till I turned them in.
That's for sure. Now, tell us about your experience at Arundel County Schools. I mean, where you started out in
Tracy's Elementary.
Tracy's Elementary,
And then went to Southern Middle and then now at Southern High School.
Do you have any teachers or anybody that's along the way? I mean, obviously you've had a bunch of teachers, but I mean, they've really made an impact for you. Because I mean, teachers do. I mean, it's strangely enough, I still remember my 3rd grade teacher, Mrs. Akeley.
Oh, I remember her.
No, you don't. But I remember Mrs. Akeley, and there's some I know. My daughter is a rising junior at American, and she remembers her 4th grade teacher up in Central Elementary as being impactful. I mean, do you have any teachers that really made a difference in your career so far?
Well, the first one that comes to mind when I was at Tracy's was Mrs. Ladd. She was my 4th grade teacher, and that's really when I began to develop this love for social studies, was because Up until that point, I didn't really have any interest in school for the most part. But when she came along, she made history like come alive in her classroom. She was a Civil War reenactor, part-time, on the weekends. That was her big thing that she loved.
I think it would be part-time. I don't think full-time.
Well, yeah.
That would be great on a resume, though, LinkedIn.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She brought in all kind of artifacts and different things that she had over the years collected, and I just really began to develop a love for social studies, and we always talked about it, and from that point on, I just kind of knew what I wanted to do. I wanted something to do with civics, social studies, history. That was the first teacher that comes to mind.
So that started back in elementary school for you?
4th grade.
She's still around?
Yeah, she is. She moved to Central Middle School, and then I don't know where she moved to from there. I think she's at a high school now.
How long ago has she been in Central?
She moved, I think, 2 years after I got out of Tracy, so I would have been in 7th grade, so
okay,
a few years ago.
So about 4 years, yeah. My kids have all been out of there, so I wouldn't necessarily know. Yeah. They went through the South River type of a thing. And high school, where did you concentrate? They don't have an IB program down here or anything. It was just general studies. Were you...
For the most part, general studies, but any elective I could take was either in the Ag Science program or the Social Studies programs.
Okay.
Oh, Ag Science.
Yeah, I was president of the FFA chapter this past year, and I was an officer for the past 2 years before that.
So what did you learn with that? I'm a hardcore gardener.
Well, I come from an agricultural background. I grew up on a former tobacco farm, and I raised produce part-time to help pay for college tuition. In the summertime, I have a produce stand. And,
you really?
Yeah, I have 3 of them, actually, as a matter of fact.
Get out of here.
Yep.
Like right here on Route 2?
I have one on Route 2. I'm going to be having one in Deal this year, and then we always do farmers markets on Thursday nights.
So you're like one of those entrepreneurs.
He's like the Abe Froman of the produce set.
The produce king of South County.
South County. Specifically, plug them. Specifically, where are they? Go get your produce here. Go Will Shartzer's produce stands.
Well, last year we were on Route 2. We're going to move. We're going to be at Gibson Shell, which is on the Circle at Route 2. And
right there, the Lothian Circle?
Yep, at the Lothian Circle. And then we're going to have one right here in Deal. It's at the Second Wind Consignment Shop across from the Deal Hardware store.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yep. And then on Thursday nights, we're hoping to be at the fire department at the new farmers market they're going to open up.
So what are you selling?
A variety of different things. Corn is our big seller. Cantaloupes. We have the best cantaloupes, not to toot my own horn or anything.
Well, do it.
But, tomatoes.
Don't be modest.
Peppers, squash, zucchini, just about the general stuff.
So I was lecturing my kid. He's 12, and we were talking about, I said that I'd been working since I was 12, and I said, you have a choice that you want to make in life. Are you going to work for someone else, which is fine, and you have less headaches, or do you work for yourself and kind of control your own destiny? And I said, that's going to be a choice for you at some point, like when you get into high school and you have to decide where you're going to work, that, you could go work at scooping ice cream or caddying or at one of the boat yards, or you can have like a mow and blow service or something. I said, but there's that kind of guy that always has a gig going that I always knew from high school and college, that always had something going, that they never worked for anyone. And they always started in high school with the sort of thing that you do.
How did it start? Okay, you grew up on a farm. You're growing your crops. When did this start? I guess for you,
it started 3 years ago. Me and my grandfather just decided it was something that we wanted to do. He had one back in the 70s that he had for about 5 or 6 years that he kind of gave up, and we just decided together to do it again to see how it worked.
And you started with one?
Yeah, we started with one on Route 2 where the old Lothian post office was.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And are you hiring people to staff them?
It's all family. I have a pretty big family that all lives on the farm, so we all work at it.
So you do live on a farm?
Yeah.
That's great.
It's pretty small. It's about 5 acres now, but at one time it was part of a 100-acre farm.
I garden. I'm a hardcore gardener, but I do like these little plots. You giggle at me.
Well, I had seen the picture actually on Brian Riddle's Facebook page. You're with the ag program at Southern.
Yes, sir.
And
Mr. Riddle's one of our big supporters.
And Homestead Gardens was involved in that. Now, what is and I didn't even realize that Southern High School had an agriculture program. It makes sense, certainly. Yeah. But what is that about?
We have different classes. Freshmen usually take Introduction to Agriculture, which is just your general studies in the agricultural sciences. And then you can be more specific with that as you go on. You can go into either plant science or animal science, depending on what path you want to go. And then there's biotechnology, which is after that, which is the hardcore of agricultural science. And then for a capstone, because it's a completer program, you do agricultural research. And it just prepares you for research in college if you want to go into the agricultural major.
Okay.
Talking to Will and Ellie just make me realize what an idiot I was when I graduated from high school.
Yeah. That, so and then from that point, then you can go. You can go on ag science or
Or even if you don't want to go into agricultural science, it's still a great opportunity.
As you aren't.
Exactly. The FFA program has been a great program for me. It's introduced me to a lot of different people. It's helped me develop my public speaking skills. It's done a lot.
born and bred South County. So
Yes,
what
sir.
happens? You go to college. What happens after? You come back, or are you flitting into the UN, or
I'm not entirely sure yet.
ambassador to Switzerland?
I'm going to see what happens. I want to go get my master's afterwards, but I'm not sure in what yet. I'm just going to take advantage of all the different programs that Penn State has.
Penn State's
and see where it
amazing.
takes me.
Does Penn State have a fast-track master's type thing? Do you know? I know some of the state schools in Maryland do that where you can do 5 years.
They do. Yes, sir.
Okay.
For the international relations, they do. You can get your master's in 5 years.
Wow. Is that something you're going to be looking into?
I'm definitely going to look into it my sophomore year.
And see what it is?
Yeah, and see if that's where I want to get my master's from, or if I want to look into another school for getting my master's. It just depends.
Well, Western PA, welcome to those winners.
Oh yeah, I'm already stocking up on the jackets
They
now.
are brutal. I went to school in Western PA, not far from Penn State.
Okay.
And I remember I showed up my freshman year, and I was unpacking my stuff, and my roommate looked at it and goes, "Where's your winter stuff?" I'm like, "Hey, we get plenty cold in Maryland, pal." And like in October, November, I was calling my mom, like, "Ma, I need a coat, like a real coat. This is ridiculous." It was snowing in October. I've never seen that before.
But where are you looking to? I mean, not sure where after your master's. I mean, are you looking to spread your wings? I mean, you're looking to get into, let's say, true international relations in a government sort of way, whether it be UN ambassador, embassy type thing, or is it looking for a consulting thing? Do you have any idea, or just sort of seeing where you're?
Yeah, I want to go into politics. That's my main goal in life.
You have a speechwriter look about you. It's the glasses.
It could be, yeah. I've been
as-
told I'm pretty good at writing speeches. But
As a candidate?
yes, sir. As
Okay.
elected office.
Oh.
All right, so where's this going to run? Where are you going to run? Where do you see yourself running for office, or how would you get into that?
He's looking at big Ed
Well,
Riley
I'm
seat.
looking at, that'd be a good seat to get. I'm not in his district anymore, unfortunately, but
He's a great guy, too.
oh yeah, he is a very nice guy. I was a page this year for the Maryland State
Oh, were you
Senate.
really?
Yes, sir, and I got to know him quite well. I got to know a lot of the senators quite well.
He's a real nice guy.
He is.
I met him a bunch of times, and he's just this big bear of a. I mean, he's huge. He fills up the room, like literally
he's
and
like
figuratively.
6'7".
Yeah.
He's very tall, yeah.
He's giant. Okay, so you did the paid. Now, what was that? Was that sort of an internship through the school?
It was. It was 2 weeks. They weren't consecutive because you had to miss school to do it. But you just you're pretty much just an assistant to whatever they need. If they need paperwork, if they need drinks or anything like that, you just run and get it for them. But there was a lot of different opportunities.
Yeah,
there
we need
as
some
well.
pages.
Well, you've got a very diverse background between the agriculture, the sort of poli-sci track that you took through this vis-a-vis the PAGE program, which I guess is considered an internship. Would you?
Yeah, it was
more or
considered
less.
an internship.
And then jumping into Penn State there with the masters.
So looking at Arundel school system and what you came through, I mean, it's interesting because I'm around a lot of people who go to the private schools up in Annapolis, and versus my kids go to public, and it's my first experience with public school. What was your experience throughout the last 12 years?
I had a very positive experience. I don't recall too many negative experiences at all in Anne Arundel County. Everything's been very positive, especially Southern High School.
Well, you've been here for life through school. Well, yeah, lifer. I don't know whether that's an appropriate term or not. But,
Yes, sir.
And there's been some. I know there's been some crazy stories that you've seen come out. I know it almost seems like annually you'll see somebody will bring a gun to Southern, because they've been hunting. And the world ends because there's a terrorist roaming the halls, which ends up being the most ridiculous thing in the world when you just don't realize that you're in it's a different section, it's a different culture. I mean, it's an agriculture. It's I know there was a guy that lived down here that was going to South River, had the same thing. They didn't let him walk because of that. If a kindergartner could understand you, that's starting in September, what advice would you give him to survive at Southern?
To survive at Southern?
Yeah, well, not survive, but I mean, to make it through, to come through as successfully as you have through Anne Arundel County schools.
Just take advantage of as many different opportunities as you can, because along the way I've been afforded so many different opportunities. Some of them I didn't take advantage of that I'm regretting, now. But
I get up in the morning.
Just
first
get
thing I do
involved
is
as
start
much as you
regretting.
possibly can.
What all were you involved with in school? I guess through middle school. I mean, elementary school was still napping and recess.
In middle school, I was in the AVID program, which is a big help.
AVID is, for anybody that's listening, I am a huge advocate for it. It's called Advancement via Individual Determination. And I don't know what your attraction to it was. My son came from a private school. Had to do a lot of catching up to get up to speed in the public school, and it was note-taking and just basically organizing the thoughts. And it was just the most wonderful program. Had a horrible year in the middle of middle school. Took a break, came back in high school, was just absolutely wonderful. Did you take that through all the way through high school?
I took it up until my 10th grade year, and then my schedule just didn't let me. Didn't give me enough room for it.
I mean, it's a wonderful program. If my son was a little scatterbrained, it's a great way to rope it back in. to really refine your study habits, I think, is where it really excels.
And that was my main motivation for taking it going into middle school.
I find that society, if you will, is putting a lot of emphasis on sports. My son did play sports. My daughters did not. I don't think either of them are necessarily impacted positively or negatively. I think it was sort of a neutral thing. Do you feel that not participating in sports hurt you at all, or?
I wouldn't say so. As long as you take advantage of opportunities, because you have to do something to stay involved within your school.
So I want to get your worldview of what's going on. We asked this last time, and we said for John and I, this is maybe the craziest political era we've ever lived in, that we've ever seen.
Yeah.
But to you guys, this is relatively normal, because it started changing. Probably 95, it started to change and started to get a little crazier. But now it's just off the rails. But it always strikes me that what is disruptive to us is just when you live through it, it's just normal.
Right.
How old are you?
17.
17. Okay, so you have not voted yet either.
No, unfortunately.
I know some of the seniors will have the 18, or if they were going to be 18 by the election, they could have voted. So you've got 4 more years.
Yes, sir.
But where do you see the country going? What's your perspective on what's happening? We had a long talk about that in our drive down here about the division in the country.
Yeah, the division is definitely running out of control now at this point.
And we're two cynical middle-aged guys, and you are a fresh face ingenue. What's your perspective on it?
I think that people are starting to pay attention a lot to the government now, a lot more than they did for the past maybe 10 years. And I'm not really sure where it's going to head, because you have people capitalizing on this division for their own political gain on both sides. And, I don't know. I'm not really sure where it's going to go. It's all up to the voters.
Do you find it? Do you think it's falling down into the local elections? I mean, you're saying people looking. Obviously, I think on a national level, people are really keeping an eye on Washington and what's happening there.
Definitely.
Do you think that's filtering down to the local thing, to the delegate that may be down here, or to the? You don't have a mayor and deal, but I mean.
Yet.
I think in some states it is, but then in other states not so much. If you look at our state, we have in my opinion, to be a pretty moderate governor, a man who is pretty bipartisan in a sense, and he speaks to both sides, both Democrats and Republicans. So I don't think it's affected Maryland as much as it has other states that are more to the left or to the right, you know what I mean, one way or another.
People aren't as feisty here.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. Well, we kind of had the sign sandwich, we called it. In South County, it was Trump. Then you got to Annapolis, you had the Hillary signs. In North County, it was Trump. So it was we are America in miniature here for the most part.
Anne Arundel County is. It's just very unique. I know we've talked to the visitor center, and there's with South County being so rural as it is, and liking it like that. Is your family from here originally?
Yes, sir.
All the life.
Yeah, they've been from the same piece of property for the past probably 250 years at least.
Okay, so they were tobacco farmers.
Yes, sir.
A lot of pressure for you to come back.
Do you have brothers and sisters?
I have one younger sister.
How old is she? About?
She's in 9th grade.
Does she have any aspirations to move on after high school or to stay here at this point yet? Or
if she does, we don't know. Not at this time. She hasn't. Figured it out.
I mean, you said it was in elementary school when you knew that you wanted to be in a civic type of a thing. When did you really start to consider my focus on college and major?
Probably the end of 10th grade, beginning of 11th grade.
That's, again, something that sort of blows my mind, in that we never really knew what the heck we wanted to do going into college, until we really got there.
Well, my daughter's 7th grade, and they're pressuring her, or the class saying that you guys should be thinking about what you want to do, and so she's almost in a panic. I'm like, you're 12. I mean, just worry about puberty.
I do agree with the.
Or she's 13. She's around there.
Let's give some thought. Do we want to go on a college track? Do we want to go on to a technical track? And that's not the right word they use, but a career track maybe, which would be like we call it VOTEC, but CAT South or CAT North vocational. Or do you want to go into? I think there was like a military track.
Yeah.
Now, did your parents go to college, or were they?
No. My mom didn't go to college, and my dad never finished high school. I'm actually the first male in my family to ever graduate from high school.
That's awesome.
A lot of pressure.
Yeah.
You nervous about going to college?
Not too nervous. Really? No, I want to change.
You looking to get out?
Yeah. Get out of South County for a while.
That's a common theme.
Yeah.
I don't think that's not what I'm trying to. I'm going with these double negatives here, but that's not abnormal.
That's
seriously, that's everybody wants to do that and explore. It's just a matter of how far. I mean, you're going. I mean, Penn State is far enough away to be away, but it's not that far away. I mean,
exactly.
It's 3.5 hours.
About 3.5, 4 with traffic.
3.5.
Yeah.
We're fast travelers.
You going to be coming back a lot?
Yeah, I think so. Well, just on the holiday breaks.
Yeah, Tim's sitting there. Okay, we'll see you Thanksgiving. We'll see you Christmas. And
my mom would call and go, "You ever plan on coming home?" I'm like, at some point, we have kids.
I mean, obviously, your parents supported you through this whole this whole thing, and it's bringing, taking advantage of what opportunities there are. What were the opportunities that you felt were presented to you through the school system or through your parents? Or, I would certainly say the ability to work with your grandfather doing produce stands is a huge one.
Oh, yeah.
In any number of ways. I mean, just running the business and getting that kind of mindset. What were the opportunities that you saw that you were presented? And conversely, what were the ones that you screwed up and you said, dang, I wish I had taken that?
Well, specifically at the high school, it's just all the different clubs and after-school things that they have to offer. There's something for everybody at Southern High School. I mean, I like to think that we have one of the most, I know we're a smaller school, but we have a lot for our size. We have one of the best art programs in the school. In the county, if you're into that.
Michael Bell.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's phenomenal.
He is. He does a great job.
Kind of scary with the tattoos and the muscles and he's got that New Jersey.
And you got that slick back hair.
That slick back New Jersey Guido kind of a guy.
he's a real nice guy.
He's phenomenal.
But
he'll listen to this and he'll go, yeah, he got me that right. He nailed me about that right.
I think I've only talked to him about once or twice, but the couple times that I did talk to him, he's a very nice guy. There's just so many different clubs. There's honor societies for just about every subject you can imagine. I was in one myself, Rho Kappa, which is for social studies. It's just you have to get out and you have to look into different clubs, try different things, and see what you want to do. Through the FFA, I met a lot of contacts that I have now. Councilman Jerry Walker,
right.
I met him through the FFA, and then once I got to know him through there, I started talking to him about my future aspirations, and he's kind of taken me under his wing. He was the one that told me about the PAGE program. I knew nothing about until then.
It's a delegate program that has, and I don't know whether it's in-state schools or not, but they have walking around money where you can ask for it, and if it's an in-state school, they'll pretty much give it to you. They've got about $30,000 worth of scholarships per year, from what I understand, to be able to give away. So it might be something to look into. I don't know whether it works for out-of-state schools.
I've checked into it, yeah. You can't use it for out-of-state tuition.
And, you're working the produce stand, saving the money for
the entrepreneur.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. And running for office in what year? What's the
I don't know yet. 2034 probably.
2034?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're
throw
going
that
to
number out there.
We're going to look for Will Shartzer in
2034. That's when I'll be eligible to run for U.S. Senate. So that's the goal.
We're not going to start with the local stuff here. We're going right for the U.S. Senate.
Yeah, okay? Go big or go home.
Okay. Cardin, we're coming for you. Thank you very much for taking time out of your day. Enjoy the rest of your summer. What are you doing for the summer?
My produce stand.
The produce stand.
Running the produce stand, yes, sir.
So that's,
have some fun.
And then I work part-time at the West Marine and Deal.
Dude, don't let no moss grow under his feet here.
Yeah, have some fun. Don't forget to do that before you go.
Oh, yeah. I have plenty of fun.
All right. Just schedule that.
Oh, yeah.
And have fun in Happy Valley. That's a great time.
Thank you.
Your parents should be proud. And
Thank you.
You're an impressive young guy. So good luck to you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, and that was Will and Ellie. They were great. We were in, what was the coffee shop we were in West Annapolis?
We were in Bean Rush.
I didn't know that was there. It was really cool.
Yeah, it's loud. It used to be the old... Yeah.
Made editing a little challenging.
Yeah. That used to be the old BB Bistro.
Yeah, food was good.
And yes, no, absolutely. If you haven't been to Bean Rush, go there.
But two kids who really got it together. They really do. I expected we find two nerdy kids pushing up their glasses, and it wasn't. They're really sharp. They're funny. They were all those things.
I was kind of hoping they would throw a teacher or two under the bus, and I'm sure they had those stories, but they just didn't.
Well, when we stopped recording, she had one of the same teachers my daughter did, and she rolled her eyes a little bit. But she said, she was cool, but in retrospect.
But roll the eyes.
Yeah.
But very, very interesting. All in all, I think Anne Arundel County, based on my experience, I've got 3 kids that have come through the system and they're out of it, and you've got 2 that are in the midst of it.
Yep.
And these 2 that just had left, I think Anne Arundel County is doing a really good job.
And in all fairness, if we talk to kids from St. Mary's or St. Anne's, they probably have something similar to say for the most part. So, I just think you kind of bloom where you're planted.
Mm-hmm. Right. And the secret is look for the opportunities.
I'm going to make that into a poster.
What?
A poster, bloom where you're planted. I'm going to make it like a Pinteresty thing.
There you go. But look for the opportunities and take them. They're there. They really are with public schools, so try to figure that out.
So in the meantime, when you ponder the wisdom of 2 children who are going into the world, you might want to find us on Facebook. We have a group and we have a page. You can find us on Twitter. John's at I in Annapolis. I'm at Tim Hamilton 47.
And together we're at MD Krabs Podcast.
Right, that is us. And you can send us an email at info@themarylandcrabs.com. We're at themarylandcrabs.com. Subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts,
wherever
on Google Play.
You get them.
We want ratings, we want reviews, all those things things are very, very important because that means we just get paid that much more, which is very little.
That is true. And hopefully we will see you next Wednesday.
Yep.
At Ram's Head on stage for the first mayoral forum. And I've spoken with all the candidates, and they're all psyched and excited.
And if you're not there, it's going to be live streamed on All Annapolis on Facebook, and of course the Maryland Crabs on Facebook. And then we've heard a couple other organizations that are going to be live streaming it as well.
I've heard the Arundel Patriot will be live streaming it as well, which is a new website that's out there. And there will be some media coverage, and we will also have it available for review, obviously video review, but audio as well. We'll be doing a podcast out of that as well.
Right. So we're new at this, so bear with us, but it's going to be awesome.
So I think we need to say goodbye.
Goodbye.
This has been the Maryland Crabs podcast with Tim Hamilton and John Fernay. Sure to follow them at all the regular places: Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and online at themarylandcrabs.com. Take a moment to rate us on iTunes. Now, get the hell out of my kitchen. Seriously, go!
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.